Good evening, families. My name is Chrissy Lane, and I'm one of the school counselors at Tech High School. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Glenn, and I'm one of 4 school counselors at Apollo High School. So we are going to begin our night, as Ms. Tiber had mentioned, going through some basic content information on what we are doing with our students in District 742 to get them ready to register for our upcoming 2021-2022 school year. So just as we're going through the information tonight, please know that everything we're talking about tonight when it comes to the presentations, the videos, the forms, we can find that both on our school websites and also with the kids in their Schoology account. So don't feel that you need to be taking notes if you don't want to. The information will be online, as well as a live recording of tonight's discussion will be available. So what we talk about tonight, you'll have many facets later on to access and utilize as you need to. So as Ms. Tiber had mentioned, I just want to point out one more time that at the top of this slide, you're going to see those URLs, and that's the links that you're going to use to answer or put in questions you might have for us. That's going to go right into a Google Doc where we will keep checking and going through those questions throughout the night. So feel free to use that. Those links will be on each of our slides as we go through. So as again, you don't need to write them down. You'll see them as we go from slide to slide. To get started, this first slide just shows you a really nice snapshot of what we are doing throughout our whole process to get kids registered. It's a little different this year, given that we have ourselves in distance learning and having materials online. So for those of your students that are older and have gone through the registration process, bits and pieces of this is going to look similar. However, just know that, again, if they're having questions, concerns, wondering what to do, that either A, they check those materials online, or B, go to their counselor, whether it's Schoology messaging, emailing us, calling us. We have multiple different town hall meetings and then open Google Meets. So just know, again, that it's a lot of information tonight, but they have a lot of access to us throughout the next month as we begin this process. So let's dig in here as we go on here. Cindy, if you want to go to the next slide. This is what students are going to see when they log into Schoology. So you can see, now we just use the class of 2023 as an example here, but our current 9th and 10th and 11th graders each have a folder that's per their graduation year. In each of those folders, you're going to see 6 steps for them to complete in order to get to that complete registration process. So already this week on Monday, the kids started step 1, in which we're going to detail kind of what that looks like. And already that on Wednesday this week, they started on steps 2, 3, 4, and 5. So depending on when your student accessed that information and how far they got in either their science or their advisory classrooms, they're going to be somewhere in the middle of these steps moving along. So if we can go to the next slide, Cindy, because now we're going to break down what we're doing in each step. So again, this information is all online in this kids' Schoology course. So both the Apollo and Tech have their own Schoology course that have the same material. But just so parents have an idea of what we're doing in each step, on Monday, we ask the kids to complete what we call a credit check, where they listen to a short video, about 4 to 5 minutes long. And this video really detailed what they need for graduation, so graduation requirements for District 742. And then it helped them figure out how they can go in and look at where they're on or not on track for graduation. And this is done through Skyward. With this step specifically, we are asking students, or we did ask students, to go ahead and complete an assignment in Schoology, where they physically went in, checked their credits, and then enter them onto a form. So they're able to see not only where they are with their progress for graduation, but also helps them identify kind of where they need to be going with classes throughout their high school career. So that was step 1, and that was ideally completed on Monday and Tuesday this week. But again, we have a chunk of time for graduation, for registration. Registration opened on Monday, as I mentioned, and we're going to go all the way through to February 12th. So again, know that the kids have time. They have time to access us, to ask questions, and go back to these steps as they feel necessary as well. Then as we moved along throughout the week, we went on to steps 2, 3, and 4. So in step 2, what is in their Schoology folder and also on the websites for both Tech and Apollo are registration videos. These videos are about 20 minutes long, give or take, and it's really going to help the kids understand what, again, they need for graduation, what the requirements are for District 742, excuse me. It also helps lay out what they'll take year to year as far as specific courses and recommendations from our counseling department. It also helps highlight some of the really, really neat special programs that both Tech and Apollo are able to offer our students, both in our buildings and then out in the community. The information that's in that registration video is also available, and we're going to get to another step in our course catalog. So if, again, you get snapshots of it in the registration video, but know that it'll go more in detail in our course catalog as well too. And then finally, in that registration video, we're going to go through the steps of how we get the kids registered. So it'll be similar information to what I showed you on the previous slide with the steps that they'll follow, the link to Skyward and all the registration materials that they will need. So step 2, that video is about 20 minutes long. It'll walk them through what they need to be registering for, some of the additional opportunities and special programming that happens in 742, and then as well as how to go about the registration process. So that'll be step 2. And like I said, most should be in or through that step at this point. And then as we move along to step 3 and 4, step 3 is a little bit more so on their own they're going to do. So we've got a link in Schoology as well as again on our website for our course catalog. And we're going to open this up for you guys to see as soon as we're through these the PowerPoint slides, excuse me, just to see how robust of programming 742 really does offer. This course catalog does go over some details on graduation requirements again and course descriptions. One of the new things added to our course catalog this year is some of the departments have included or embedded some quick little videos of here's how we do, science classes in our building, or here's some of the experiences that you get to have. So just kind of an added feature that you get to access this year as well too. But again, we'll open that up in a little while. And then when we get to step 4, this is really kind of where kids are landing right now. This is a step where we are asking them to complete a form, and this form is done through Schoology and linked through their Google Drive, which is a pretty familiar process to them. But this registration form has them somehow identify, whether it's highlighting or bolding or underlining, what courses they want to take. This registration form will be saved for both them and for us as counselors to be able to go back and look at and see, okay, you signed up for this. Let's see if we can make this work in your schedule. Or this was an extra option you put on there for us. Let's see if we can make this work. So that registration form is going to be used for both the student and the counselor. If they're having questions about what classes to take, not sure what levels they want to be at, certain electives they want to take, again, that would be a good time to head back to their counselor, emailing and Schoology messaging, calling us parents. We can check in. We're going to have additional town hall meetings and an open day for parents. So just know that step 4, when we say complete registration form, we understand this might take a little while to do this one. And that's okay. We have until February 12th, so we have the time to do it. We want students and families to really think about what's the best choice for them course-wise that will set them onto a path for success, whether that's career or college and what that looks like. So step 4, students are beginning, but we don't anticipate that step being completed for a little while yet. So just know that there's some wiggle room for that one as we get going. And then if we, Cindy, you want to head to the next slide? Yep, and then we're going to finish out the rest of our registration process with step 5 is actually where the kids are going to go in and they will physically register for what classes they will be taking. So I'm going to assume that most students do know how to access and log into Skyward, but how to register for classes might need a reminder for them. So what we've done in step 5 is included a short tutorial video, again, in all 3 languages. It's about 5 minutes long, but it reminds them how to log into Skyward. And then once they log into Skyward, there'll be a menu on the left-hand side, and on that menu, one of the options is schedule. So they will go into that scheduling option, and from there, there's a link that'll say request courses for 2021, 2022. And that link will take them to a screen where basically they will shop for the courses that they want to have by entering the course numbers and hitting search. And they will get those course numbers from the registration form that they completed in step 4 to enter in Skyward. So step 5 is really a time for them to begin to physically to go into Skyward. They're going to add their courses to their course list. And then that's what we as counselors down the road will use to compile schedules and make what will look like their success for their classes in the future. There's also an addition to step 5 that we added in. It's a quick survey link that we want students to do to show us if they do have interest for an online school, if we do offer that in the fall, if they would have interest for that. It's a quick link that they'll do. It's got a couple questions. They'll fill in their student name and ID and just voice whether or not they would have interest if we would have and would be to offer some sort of DLA option in the future. That would help us or guide us as to what that would look like for them and how many students would be considering that. So just know that that's an extra added step to step 5, but it's like a 2 or 3 questionnaire that will go pretty quickly. And then as we round out the registration process, step 6 is a pretty simple, pretty quick, and it's just a way for us counselors to know who has done what. It is a question that they'll click on, and that question simply asks them, did you do your Skyward registration or did you not do it? So there's no additional activities or things to review or look at in that step, but it just lets us kind of track who has or has not registered, and it'll help guide us who we need to maybe check in with afterwards. So that is our 6 steps to our registration process. Again, please know that kids are probably in about that step 2, 3, or 4 right now. And as they're completing step 4, where that registration form is, that one might be taking a little bit longer as they decide what courses are the best choice for them. As we go to the next slide, if Cindy wants to go ahead one more. I just wanted to again reiterate that when you guys are talking to your kids about what courses and what options you have for them, go ahead and use both of our websites. Again, both at Tech and Apollo, on the homepage of those high schools, there's a tab that is titled Guidance and Counseling. And under that tab, you're going to find all these materials. So whether it's the registration videos, the course catalog, all that material will be there in multi-different languages there. The other one that we didn't mention in the slideshows, but I do want to point out to you guys is you can maybe see it on the screen here. It's kind of small, but there's the registration flyer for both Apollo and Tech. And on that registration flyer, it's got the dates of continued open office times, more town hall meetings, and then there's an open day where both the Tech and the Apollo counselors are going to be available all day long for both parents and students. So that registration flyer is going to be really important to look to find out when do I have access to my school counselors to ask the questions that I need to get asked. So again, just know that the information is on the website. The information is on the Schoology page for the students. And if anything comes up, go to the counselor. We're here to help. We're here to answer questions. And if we don't know it, we'll find somebody who does know it. So with that, again, I just want to give a reminder that on each of the slideshows you're going to see that tiny URL on top, and that is where we would like families to put or use to put in their questions that they might have for us tonight. Again, there's a lot of information that is given out. We'll answer as much as we can, but know again, everything's online on the website or through Schoology throughout the next couple of weeks as well. Chrissy, anything to add that I did not add in as far as scheduling process, registration that you can think of?
No, everything's really, really well laid out, Jess. Thanks. And parents, I just want you to know we have had some really nice meetings with students so far this week. They have been really thoughtful on their questions, on their credit check. I know I have met with numerous students just going through their transcripts with them. So we are available from 10:50 every day through 1:45. And all of that information on how to get into our Google links is right on that flyer. So again, we have gotten some registration materials or the forms actually completed by students. And I think that's a little rushed since we just opened up the registration on Monday. So you may want to ask your son or daughter if they have already submitted it. And if so, and you haven't seen it, then please just reach out to the counselor and we can let you know what your son or daughter signed up for. And we most certainly can add to that or delete from that too.
There's another question in the chat box. Are there going to be 6 or 7 periods next year? There will be 6 periods next year. And just to kind of give some background to that as well, in the past where we've had 7 different hours during the day, and academically students have signed up for 6 classes, and that 7th period or hour was used for a lunch and study hall combination. So just like in the past where students have signed up for 6 courses, they will sign up for 6 courses again next year as well.
And I would just highly encourage parents to please look through our new course catalog. With the combination or accumulation of both schools together, we are being able to offer some really wonderful, wonderful opportunities for students. And we are taking a look at, we can't promise anything, but if one school is offering a course and the other school did not have enough students sign up for it, we possibly, with all the technology that we have learned within this given year, we possibly can be able to offer that on a distance learning basis too. But again, nothing is set in stone. We just want to know what the interest of the students and the parents are first.
And I was logged out for a little bit. There was a question, how do I see my child's registration in Schoology? Or that they completed? How can I see that as a parent?
Great question. So there's 2 ways that we can do that. Actually 3 ways, excuse me. So number 1 is having students sit down with you and they can log in at this themselves and they can pull it up that way to look at it. Stays, there makes a copy in their Google Drive. So they'll be able to always access it, go back to it, look at it, and they likely will need to go back to it to physically go in and register. Because remember, that registration form is going to have the course numbers on there for them. So they'll kind of have to have 2 things up at the same time as they're going through Skyward and registering for them. The second option for that is that parents are able to make their own Schoology account as well too, and they can log in and view students' work and what they have been completing or not completing. Is a second way. Otherwise, a third way is by all means reach out to us counselors, because we also have access to that registration form. So whether we talk through it over the phone, if we do a Google Meet, there's multiple ways that we can touch base about what's going on. But easiest way is to probably just log in next to kiddo and kind of run through what that looks like, but a couple different options.
Okay, thank you. And we have another question. How will I know which courses count for which type of graduation credit? For example, how do we know which classes count as art credits?
Okay, that is all listed in our grade level or the folder. So if you're in a class of 2022, within that presentation, everything is listed out in regards to what that year needs for credits. Also, if you look into the registration book or the course catalog, the 63 credits are broken down in there. So it'll show you exactly what is counted. And then in the course catalog on the description of the courses, it was indicated in there if it had met the art requirement. And again, if you have any questions whatsoever, please reach out to the counselors, and we most certainly can help you out with that.
And one more, I'm just going to add to that, on that actual registration form, classes that count for a specific art credit are going to be starred on there as well too. So you have a handful of different ways to look at that. And like we're showing here, the course catalog here will kind of break it down what's needed grade by grade as far as per credits, and then total amount getting to that 63 for graduation. So great question though.
Okay, we have another question. Does District 742 think it will be realistic to request the elementary assistant course for next year, or will COVID prevent that course from running?
Great question. And I'm sorry, but we do not know the answer to that.
And we are planning for a regular school year for next year, so it is available to sign up for. So like anything, we plan and replan. So go ahead and sign up for that. And there's an opportunity in that registration for students to put in their backup courses or their, other options if they aren't able to get into their first choices. We have another question. Teachers at Tech have mentioned that if there are not 20 students registered for a course, there may be some hybrid courses between Tech and Apollo. Is this accurate? Yes, we're looking at the best ways we can offer access to these courses for all of our students. From the Board of Education, there's a recommendation that we run classes with averages of 32 to 34. And so when we look at staffing classes under 20, that is difficult. And so to offer, again, access to those courses, we will look at some unique ways that we can run some courses. So yeah. And I think that's all we have so far. So maybe I think it would be a good idea to give you a glimpse of that course catalog that we encourage you to look through with your scholar and read through, read up, depending on their interests and requirements. Look at what are the best offerings for your scholar. And the catalog is not just the courses, but it talks about programming and pathways as well. It's 82 pages, so it's a great, just the fact that it's 82 pages shows us what a great set of offerings we have here in 742 for our students, offering all sorts of pathways. So here we get into our programming, our AP programming. Something, a question that has come up in the other town hall is, if you are interested, if you're 8th grade, if you have a student in 8th grade, class of 2025, coming into 9th grade, and they want to take honors, science, or language arts, what's the process for that? And there is no process for that. It's all self-selected. So if students want to challenge themselves into taking the honors versions of those courses, it's available to them. Work with your child in deciding if that's the best option for them. AP is the same thing. It's self-selection. There's no application process. So we encourage all of our students to take those challenges.
And for our tech families out there, next week we have conferences on January 21st, but we are also going to be holding a post-secondary meeting that Aaron Block has set up. So if you will look on our website tomorrow morning, we'll have all the information posted there. So that's another college opportunity for students if you are a junior or senior.
And I don't see any questions popping up into the chat box. For those of you who maybe joined us a little bit late, I see there are a few more families that have joined us. We just recapped the registration process that's happening right now in advisory courses for students at Apollo and Tech, and in science courses for our students that are in 8th grade registering to be incoming 9th graders. And that process is a 5-step process for our 8th graders, a 6-step process for all the classes beyond that. And the process has begun. Like I said, the step 1 was for students to hear about graduation requirements and what options they have at the different grade levels. And then they have been introduced to the course catalog and are now in the process of selecting their courses. So really, we are encouraging you, family, to work with your child in looking at those courses and deciding what the best pathway is, best set of courses are for your child for next year. And we have the whole month, so you have quite a bit of time to talk to counselors, look into courses, learn more about them, and select that best pathway.
And January 20th all day is going to be the time for Tech and Apollo families to be able to log in. Our web address is on there for you to meet with the counselors. We are available all day long, so please look on our website and come join us on the 20th.
Just as maybe another a little more in-depth reminder, so when the kids are going through the registration videos and they're looking at the registration forms, part of that is knowing what those required classes are. And that was one of the common questions that came up at a previous town hall meeting. So again, it does vary depending on what year they are in their high school class, but the idea when they're registering for those courses is looking at the 4 core classes that they need. So an incoming soon to be 9th grader and 10th grader are going to be looking at 4 core classes: their language arts, their science, their social, and then a math class. And then they'll be choosing electives on top of that. So whether that elective is music or band, world languages, technology, we have, again, a robust amount of different electives that are available out there. And as you can see, Cindy's paging through the course catalog right now, and you're going to start to see all the different types of classes beyond those core classes that are offered to our students here in 742. So take the time to look through this course catalog, because it really does showcase some of the really neat and really engaging and preparatory classes for our students as they get ready to engage in a pathway of life and humans and adulting and all that stuff. So just know that they're going to be looking for those 4 core subjects around language arts, science, math, and social. And then, and like Ms. Typer said, depending on their choice of rigor, and the class 742 has an array of different honors and advanced and AP classes for those students, along with college in the high schools, which we refer to as S2S, and then PSEO classes where they're doing post-secondary at the college. So there is an abundant amount of options for our students to choose from, and something that we as a district are really excited to be able to offer our students all these choices. And that can be hard sometimes when we do have so many choices to lay out there for them. So again, that would be a good discussion point or talking point to do or have with their counselors to say, where do I start? What do I do? So, but a good problem to have, problem that we like to talk about.
And then Cindy, do you mind popping up one of the slides just so they can see the URLs for questions? Please, that'd be great. Yes, just a reminder, if you have questions, you can go to any one of those 3 URLs at the top of the page. Type that into your address window and go ahead and type in your question, and we will monitor those as they come in and answer those. Again, for anyone just joining, we are recapping the registration process that's happening right now in schools for our students, the registration process for high school, that is. And so students are in the depths right now, deciding what their path will be for next year. Another question that has come up, or questions that have come up, are what are required courses for, say, a 9th grader, a 10th grader, 11th and 12th, if either one of you counselors want to.
Sure. As Jessica stated, we have, for example, for a 9th grader, we'll have a year of language arts, a year of math, a year of science. Geography is required, whether you do it for 2 trimesters or a full year at the advanced placement. Phy-Ed and health is needed before the kids graduate, and then that elective area right there. So again, in the course catalog, it really lays out nicely what the core classes are, what the requirements are. And again, those electives are going to be classes of your choice and of your interest area. So I know I have a 8th grader, soon to be 9th grader, for next year, and she's thinking about healthcare. So I'm really going to encourage her to be able to take some health science classes just to see if that is a good fit for her. So again, just take a look at all that, and then if you have any questions, please reach out.
Okay, thank you. And then Cindy, if you would just want to pop up the URLs again, so as people are coming in and they can enter questions. We have a few more questions that have popped in. Is there a way to enter alternative choices for classes?
So Christy, you want to?
It's okay, you can go.
I like to talk too much, so there's my disclaimer. So yes, in Skyward, we're not going to be able to put in extra classes there. The kids will be maxed out at 18 credits. So depending on what year they are, whether it's a 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, or 12th grade year, 11th and 12th graders get a little more wiggle room on some of those extra alternative options they want to do. But what we do ask the students to do is on their registration form, which is part of step 4, is at the bottom of that registration form, we've asked them to list or give us a couple extra options for classes they would like to take. And that's for a couple different reasons. So A, we kind of see what that whole picture looks like for the student, right? So we kind of know what direction they're headed in. But B, we're also going to use that as a counseling department when we start to put together schedules, end of the school year, early summertime. And let's just say that, Chrissy's daughter had signed up for a medical terminology class and she wanted to take that. But because of her world language and her band she's taking, I, as a counselor, just can't make that fit this year. Definitely probably an option for the future, but I just can't make that fit this year. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that registration form. I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm going to see what she put for some extra choices and see if I can get at least one of those alternative choices in her schedule to best fit. So those extra options are definitely important for us as counselors, because we do use that. It's a puzzle piece trying to put all those classes together, and we will absolutely do our best to make it fit first choice what the student is choosing. But we are limited sometimes on what we're able to do and how we can do that. So we're going to look to those as secondary options for us to plug in.
Thank you. We have another question. How will students sign up for PSEO?
We are asking students to sign up for a full schedule at either Tech or Apollo. And again, our PSEO meeting is next week, and Apollo will have one too. And once they have been accepted into the PSEO program, we just keep their schedule at Tech and Apollo until they have registered at either the community college or St. Cloud State or wherever they're doing PSEO. And then we'll go ahead and drop the classes that they do not need at one of the schools. So again, it is a process. June 1st is the deadline. If you have a 3.5 as a junior or a 3.0 as a senior, if you would like to go fall, June 1st, and then November 1st is if you would like to be able to go PSEO for spring. But again, we're asking all students to please register for your 12 to 18 credits, 18 if you're not a senior, and if you're a senior, 12 to 18. And then we'll go from there.
Thank you.
And just to add to that, similar to what Christy said with Apollo, we're asking students to reach out to your assigned counselor to talk about PSEO. At this point, we're doing it more on a one-to-one basis, and then eventually we'll have kind of that group guidance when we get them all together and talk about what PSEO is and how to move forward. But for now, if your student is an Apollo student and interested in PSEO, have them reach out directly to their school counselor. And then, of course, both of our websites have information on post-secondary data and structure and things like that too. So just a little bit different there, but same idea.
Okay. Is there a way to know which classes count for college credit in the course guide?
Yes, for the senior to sophomore program, there's a description in there. In the senior to sophomore is a collaboration that we have with St. Cloud State at both schools. So in the course catalog, it'll indicate those classes. And then for PSEO, of course, it's just you are physically attending your classes over at the university or community tech college. And then those classes are actually just transferred over as high school credit. But yes, they are included in the course catalog.
Thank you. We have a parent asked or doesn't think their student has done the registration yet in advisory. I know our 8th graders are doing it in their science classes. If you don't think they've done that yet, have them reach out to their advisory teachers, they have one on period 1 and one on period 4. Reach out to them, or maybe you could reach out as well. But yes, well, all of our teachers are doing that, so definitely reach out. The next question is, for the sophomore to senior program, do you have to take a test to get the college credit like for AP classes?
You have to have a 3.5 as a junior to be eligible for the senior to sophomore. The only class that has a requirement of a testing requirement is if you are taking the pre-calculus or St. Cloud State's Math 115 course, then that does have a pre-test. But again, with COVID, that changed that little step too, because we could not have anyone coming over to test. So then we just sent transcripts. But again, it's a 3.5 or a 3.0 as the qualifier.
And they were also wondering if the senior to sophomore classes are weighted higher than normal classes.
They are. They have a 4.5 GPA bump, and the AP classes have a 4.8 bump.
Okay, and what is the date and time of the Tech PSEO meeting?
It is 6 to 7 on the 21st. And as I said, go to our website, just text page, and the link will be there.
Thank you. We have a pause in our questions incoming right now, so I'll just recap for anyone who has joined us. We are talking about the registration process happening right now in our high schools and for our 8th graders in 742. Just talking about that process, some of the requirements, and answering questions that you may have as you help your scholar sign up for their courses for next year. And if you have questions, you can go to any one of those 3 URLs at the top of the slide you see there, enter your question, and we will monitor those questions and answer them as we see them come in. And again, the students are doing the registration completely through Schoology. They have assignments just like they would in any of their other academic courses. They submit credit checks as part of that process. They submit their course registration on a form as part of that process, so counselors are able to go in and see who has and hasn't gone through that process yet, and they'll be monitoring that throughout this next month. Students will transfer all of that information from that form that they fill out of their courses and put it into Skyward, so we have that in our system as well. And as part of that process, students are asked to, with their families, with their parents and guardians, go through, there's a short 1 or 2 questionnaire that asks them, if we end up offering a distance or virtual academy next year at the high school level, would you be inclined to have your student attend? And that's just to give us an idea as we plan and staff for next year what the interest is. And again, we're still waiting for that approval, so we don't know whether or not that will run, but we are asking for that input. So again, throughout the whole process, we encourage you, the families and parents and guardians, to work with your child in signing up and registering, going through that course catalog and making sure that they've completed it. So just ask them to open up that Schoology course. They're all in it, and show you what they've done. Oh, we have a few more questions that have popped into the chat box. What do we do if our kids need to make up credits?
That is a great question. So hopefully part of that process in step 1, when they did their credit check, that was a way for them to identify on themselves that, okay, this was a credit that I failed, I need to make up, or this is a credit that I passed. So as the students are identifying, then as well as us counselors, which is a large portion of what we're doing is checking classes and credits and where are we on track for graduation, that we will work with our students to talk about credit recovery and how we can make those credits up. So we are excited that through District 742, we have a couple different options that we can do that for our students, and one of them being through night school. Right now, given circumstances of distance learning, that is online through Schoology and then an online program that we're using. A second option to make up credits would be for summer school. Again, what plans look like for this summer and how that'll lay out is unknown at this time, and we'll plan accordingly as we can, given requirements and safety standards. But at the given time, night school is online and summer school may or may not be that way. And then an alternative option behind that too is when they get into their 12th grade year, and if they are still not caught up or got those recovery credits ready to go, they are able to plug those makeup credits back into their schedule as a senior. What that'll do is take away some of those open slots or open periods for the elective classes that they may have chosen or wanted to choose, but they have that option to make up credits that way as well too, if they choose to put it off till their 12th grade year. But a couple different options for makeup credits.
Okay, and we have another one. If we are unable to attend the PSEO meeting next week for tech, where can we obtain the information from that meeting?
We will have it on our guidance page and also on our website. So, and reach out to your son or daughter's counselor, and we'd be more than happy to meet on a Google Meet with you.
Thank you. Another question, if whether or not this is being recorded. Yes, this is being recorded. We also recorded the 8th grade, or the presentation we had for 8th graders, incoming 9th graders, and that is posted on our sites as well, and it's 99% of the information is the same. So that is available already, and yes, we are recording this one as well.
And to reiterate too, that if you're coming late to the meeting or only caught bits and pieces of it, the material that we talked about, the step-by-step process, the registration forms, the course catalog, all that is online for parents and students to view. So you can go to either one of our school websites and click on the guidance and counseling tab, and then it'll pull up there. Or your child can log into Schoology, and under their all school student course that they have, this information is also there too. So again, please know that what we're going through tonight is a lot of information to take in, but it's going to be available online for weeks to come yet, as the process started on Monday and will not conclude until February 12th.
And we have a question again, about the number of periods next year. So we will be offering 6 periods next year, like in the past, where students have signed up for 6 courses. Although we've had 7 hours in the day, that 7th hour was for a lunch and study hall. So students will sign up for 6 periods as they always have. So yes, it's a 6-period day next year. And then somebody asked about an open period. And I don't know, Jess, do you want to talk about open periods?
So we have that as an option. It's something that we don't offer for sure not to our 9th and 10th graders, as there is a significant amount of core subjects they have to be taking, and then we want them working towards their elective credits. So for a 9th and 10th grader, that does not often become an option unless it's a specific circumstance. For our 11th and 12th graders, it can be a discussion point. Our 11th graders have to take a minimum 5 classes per try, and then our 12th graders a minimum of 4. And this is based on whether or not they're on track for graduation. So if I've got a kiddo that I'm talking with and we've got a couple credits to make up, but they really want to have an open period, that we're going to have that discussion, kind of talk about, what we can do to get those makeup credits in rather than have an open period so that we stay on track for graduation. That is, of course, with parent permission and counselors supporting that too. So I don't want kids to hear the answer is no, but I want to make sure that they understand that it should be a discussion point. And one of the things that I really try to encourage my seniors, because often it's our seniors who have that availability to have that open period, is to really utilize that open period to take those elective classes. This is your chance to try things out, to wean in or wean out as to what your pathways are and what some interest could be for free. right? They have this opportunity where they get these elective classes, and whether it is in our building or PSEO, that they have these opportunities to take these electives to figure out, yeah, this sounds like something I want to do, or no, this is not what I want to do. So our juniors and seniors have more opportunity for that. Though I will encourage as much as I can to utilize that time to take some electives, to try some things out.
And just for those of you who have been here for the entire time, we are finished with the content, so you are welcome to leave. We'll just stick around for questions. And again, if you have just recently joined us, you can type your question in at the URL at the top of that slide that you see, and we'll monitor those questions. And this is being recorded, so you will have access to that information. If you weren't able to join us tonight or log in, just a summary again. Our students are registering for their classes for next year for high school. And what you see on the screen there, those are the 6 steps that our students are completing. Right now, they are working on step 4. So they kind of did step 1 on Monday and Tuesday. They watched some of that presentation today, they did the grad check, they watched the presentation and looked at the catalog, and they're starting to kind of choose their classes for next year. So we encourage all families to be a part of that process with them. Our counselors have all sorts of opportunities during advisory for students to join their Google Meets, and that's on our webpage. We have flyers that list all the times that the counselors are available. They have dates. It's January 20th. Is that right? That's all day for students and parents to call anytime and join the meet and get your questions answered there. And you can always call as well and email.
And tech counselors are also available during lunch hours. So advisory and lunch hours at tech.
We are just so excited for our next year, and to be there every day and to see everybody's faces and to get our students on the path to success. We're just really excited about this process and about our offerings for next year and the supports, and just to invite all of them into our schools. It will be wonderful. So we want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. Our meeting is concluded. We'll stick around for a few more minutes if we have any questions. As of right now, there haven't been any more popping into our form here. So thank you very much. Have a good night.